I also don't believe in the end that he's going to be our nominee.
Okay, but you would support him if he were?
You know, I don't support what he has done, and I don't think he will be our nominee, so I don't think I'll have to worry about supporting him.
Welcome back to Harville. That was New Hampshire Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte last summer saying she wouldn't have to worry about supporting Donald Trump or not because she did not believe he would become her party's presidential nominee. High hopes, apparently, but as Trump reaches closer to securing the nomination now, Ayotte could be eating her words. She, along with 4 other Republican senators running for re-election, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, Mark Kirk of Illinois, Rob Portman of Ohio, and Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania could all face tough odds with Trump at the top of the ticket, making party leaders nervous about the prospects of losing the U.S. Senate to the Democrats this fall. The New York Times reported in February that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has begun preparing senators for the prospect of a Trump nomination, assuring them that if they threaten to harm them in the general election, they could run negative ads about Mr. Trump to create space between him and Republican senators seeking re-election. We'll drop him like a hot rock, McConnell said. What a line. We'll drop him like a hot rock. Anyway, according to his colleagues, he said that. But Democrats want to make Republicans own Mr. Trump. Here's parts of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee's latest web ad.
What the hell are we doing?
I'll support the Republican nominee.
I plan to support the Republican nominee.
I'm going to support the nominee regardless of who it is.
Would you support Donald Trump?
If he was the nominee, I certainly would.
I intend to support the Republican nominee.
I have every intention of supporting the Republican nominee.
I'm going to be for whoever wins this primary.
Republican Representative Joe Heck says he'll support the eventual nominee.
My hands, if they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem.
Good for our candidates to have somebody like Donald Trump.
What the hell are we doing?
Time for the Hardball Roundtable. Amos Snead's a Republican strategist. Heidi Presbala is senior political reporter with USA Today. And Shane Goldmacher is with Politico. Let me start with you, Amos. This problem is real because I've seen statistics that show that as goes the presidential line, so goes the Senate line. In something like 90% of the cases. The days of ticket splitting, even in the Senate places like Pennsylvania where I grew up, are over. You go with the tide.
I think if you look at this, and, you know, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Republican senators, Republican House members running against Trump. I think they're going to run in parallel with them.
Well, how do they hide from him?
Well, I think if you look, see what just happened in Texas, and we'll look at
when he comes to the airport, are they waiting for him? That's the question. No, I can't laugh that one off. Are they there with him, holding his hand, introducing him at all the party events, or not?
I think we're going to see a lot of scheduling miracles that happen between now and November so that these candidates don't end up in the same part of the state as Trump is when he shows up in town.
No pictures together.
I don't believe so. Yeah.
What do you think? Can they really get away with that without every party member knowing they've ditched the guy, they've cut him?
They've been fretting about this for months, Chris. If I take you back to December when the NRSC put out this memo on what do we do if Trump's at the top of the ticket, and they think that they can do kind of this wet noodle embrace of like capitalizing on some of the populist fervor that he's stirring up. While
you pick up the angry white working guy, but don't lose the suburban.
But you're going to condemn the woman thing, right?
That's
like you're wearing on the woman, the ads, you know, that was running earlier today. How does Kelly Ayotte in good conscience not say, you know, that's, I don't agree with the rhetoric that he's used on that.
Okay, explain how you can do that. You explain it with the wet noodle. But I'm just wondering how you can be that clever to get the women, stick the women with you, the sophisticated women, all women, and not lose that angry white guy.
I don't think you can. You want my opinion? I think it's going to really hurt them. I think it's going to be devastating. And that's the words of the former NRSC political director, Rob Jesmer, who was quoted as saying this is going to be a complete and utter disaster for a lot of these candidates. If you look at the map, Chris, remember 2014, if the Senate map looked like 2014 when you had some of these red states like Arizona, Alaska, it would have been less of a huge issue. But, you know, Trump would have been maybe not much of as much of a liability. But these are all of these industrial states where we're not sure how this is going to shake out yet. Like in Ohio, we said, oh, he's drawing in all these blue-collar voters. Well, guess what? More blue-collar voters crossed over to support Kasich as a protest vote. So we don't know how this is going to shake out. That's where the map is this year.
I think there truly are, Shane. I think there truly are. They don't like the word moderate Republican. Let's call mainstream conservative Republicans. But they do have a sensitivity about, they don't want to be known as racist. Even if they have a little bit of a tinge, they don't want to have it public. They are embarrassed by it. They may live in the suburbs. They may be part of white flight, but they damn well read the newspapers and don't want to be one of the bad guys. And Trump talks in ways that sounds very bad to people.
And it's basically an inversion of 2014 when Barack Obama was unpopular. He wasn't even on the ballot, and all the Democrats in all these red states tried to run away from him. Those same scheduling problems and doctor's appointments, they weren't appearing with him. And guess what? The Republicans are going to face that same problem with a nominee like Donald Trump or even a nominee like Ted Cruz. And so for all of these Republicans, they're really facing a challenge. How can they win and separate themselves in a country now where people don't ticket split?
Let's take a candidate who I think is pretty attractive. I just watched her over the years. I think she's fine. I mean, I don't know if I'd vote for her or not. Kelly Ayotte, okay? She's running against a tough opponent. Hassan, the governor. It's always tough to be the governor. How does she do that wiggle thing?
She's running on her brand.
I'm serious. In a small state where everybody knows each other, you get a sense of where Kelly is versus Kelly Ayotte versus Trump. Are they together or not?
Well, that's exactly it. She runs on her personal brand. I mean, that's the argument that they're making now to these vulnerable Republicans is, look, you go out there, you do your own ground game, you do your own advertising, and you run in your personal brand. Yeah. It's a small state, right? But all throughout this campaign, there's going to be additional comments coming from Donald Trump, inflammatory comments. And unlike right now, once you get into the heat of those campaigns, she's going to be asked to respond to every single one of them and have a position.
And by the way, the Democratic opponent will have, right, Amos, the pictures together. Every time they get within a mile of each other, it'll be in the ad.
I think
they're not going to let them separate.
I think you're right, but I also think, if you look at Trump, there's going to be a lot of Republican money.
Would you like to be a Republican running in a state, for example, a purple state like Toomey, Portman, Kirk, Johnson, Ayotte? Would you like to be one of those people running for re-election with Trump at the top?
I would not like to be running for re-election in any state right now, but I think what Trump's doing, a lot of the money's going to go.
I don't know. There's a lot of safe senators. I look at them. They're all Democrats except for one, Michael Bennett. They're all safe except for him. Anyway, let me go back. The super PAC out there supporting Democrats, the Senate Majority PAC it's called, is out with this new ad slamming Kelly Ayotte for following Trump's lead on denying President Obama a vote. Now, this is a tough one for a Supreme Court nominee. This is a double whammy. It's not only Trump, it's not letting people vote. So you want Trump to be the nominee, but you don't want the nominee of the president to be considered. Little problem there. Let's watch.
Delay, delay, delay.
Donald Trump wants the Senate to delay filling the Supreme Court vacancy so he can choose the nominee next year. And Senator Kelly Ayotte is right there to help. Ayotte joined Trump and party bosses in refusing to consider any nominee, ignoring the Constitution. Newspapers call Ayotte's actions appalling, wrong, and disappointing.
Delay, delay, delay.
Kelly Ayotte, ignoring the Constitution, not doing her job.
How do I know those words weren't headlines? But they are in the ad. They're probably buried in the jump somewhere. Anyway, their roundtable stick